So, lads, a couple of hours ago, I saw this post shared. I completely forgot to watch this. This came out yesterday, and it was a iHeart Women's Sports podcast, and it is from Fear Factor with Stephanie White. I completely missed it yesterday. I should have watched it. There's definitely people that have broke down. This. There may or may not be, to be honest. But I did see this post when I woke up from Ken Swift. And this was a couple of hours ago from him. And it's Steph White talking about how Caitlin Clark has handled being sidelined. And I do think that, again, this is an important thing. It is important to know how players are. Players do hold being sidelined. How players just are going to react to different situations, because I do think Caitlin Clark is a player that is important, and a player that's unbelievably important to this Fever team, even off the floor. Because let's be real, none of this happens without Caitlin. There's no Steph White if Caitlin Clark isn't there. There's absolutely no, Steph White. There's no Kelsey Mitchell coming back. There's no Gamebridge filling out arenas. None of this happens without Caitlin Clark. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So let's take a listen to what Stephanie White has said about Caitlin.
Yeah, and another leader that we've been able to see on the sidelines is Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
She's such a competitive player. Obviously her season ended due to injury, but you can clearly see on the sidelines that she wants to play. She wants to be on the court. What has it been like watching her handle being sidelined and working through the recovery part this season?
Well, look, I continue to be impressed with her work ethic. I mean, she is somebody who's in the gym all the time. She works incredibly hard. She's a perfectionist. She doesn't take plays off. And,
Caitlin definitely takes plays off. Very rarely on the offensive end, but we have seen Caitlin Clark hit the deck and not run back on defense. It's not like we haven't seen Alicia Gray do it a bunch of times in the playoffs. Not like we haven't seen Aja do it. It's not like Paige doesn't do it 3 times a game. It's not like Angel doesn't do it twice a game. Everyone does it, but Caitlin most definitely. The only player on that Fever team that I'm going to say never takes a play off is Lexi Hull. That's the only player I will say never takes a play off on that entire Fever team. On the offensive end, Caitlin, sure.
For a player like her, I can imagine it's very frustrating to be in a situation where you're not on the floor. She loves to compete. She loves to play. She loves this team. She loves her teammates. And it's been a roller coaster. I mean, as someone who's had multiple injuries, I can say that it's hard being away from the team, and it's hard not doing what you love to do. But what I've absolutely been so proud of her for is her continuing to pour into her teammates. I mean, she is the number one cheerleader on the sideline. She continues to be engaged in everything that we do, talking to her teammates, communicating what she sees to them, communicating what she sees to us, being a cheerleader for them, talking in huddles. It sucks when you're not able to play.
So that is, again, a big thing. We all know how big it is when it comes to Caitlin Clark, just the energy that she's put in on the sideline. Her basically being, they joke about it, Coach Caitlin
But you also can gain a different perspective when you're watching from the sidelines. See it a little bit more from a coach's perspective, from a coach's point of view. I don't doubt that Caitlin Clark is always hungry, but you are hungrier when you're not able to participate. And I think this season, has she's regained a new perspective, a different perspective. We have been able to watch her navigate that in the classy, mature way that she does everything else. And I have just continued to be impressed by how she pours into and leads this team.
And I mean, she's not wrong. You are absolutely going to be more hungry. You're going to be more hungry coming off a season like this. You are absolutely you're going to be more hungry, because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where you just, it's a tough one. It says here, I've always wanted Steph to be a coach. We're after New York game. Other moments I regret that Caitlin loves Steph and wants her to lead, so I will stop and free Caitlin Clark. I don't know. I don't think there's any. I think trying to make the argument that Caitlin Clark and Steph White and it is some sort of like a personal thing. Like there's never a personal thing between Steph White and Caitlin Clark. It's never been personal, no matter what anyone wants to think. It's never been personal. And the thing is with Steph White and Caitlin is that they are absolutely like there's so much mutual respect. I think the whole thing with them is that there is definitely a basketball philosophy issue where it's like, I think one of my problems is that Steph White is a pragmatic coach. You can see it even when Kelsey Mitchell's there. She is risk averse, whereas Caitlin Clark is a risk taker. And I think it's hard as a coach who's been successful as a risk averse coach to shake that part of you, that part of your personality when it comes to basketball, and allow this super high risk player to play their game, because a lot of the time if you take a high risk player out of their game, they go to shit. Like Jack Grealish, Ibrahimovic. And if you look at Pep Guardiola, you look at the players Pep Guardiola has had, the flair players, and with the exception of Lionel Messi is absolutely the exception, because Messi was that good that Pep Guardiola literally just had to say, you know what, like, I can't really say much here. Like Messi is different. Whereas when it comes to Steph White, like, in my opinion, Caitlin Clark is Messi. Like, that would be my opinion on it all, is that in the grand scheme of things, Caitlin Clark is the Messi. Like, when Pep Guardiola took on Messi, he was 22 years old, hadn't won a Ballon d'Or, and was on the trajectory to be the best player in the world. And by the time Pep Guardiola got rid of Messi, and like Messi was the one player that Pep Guardiola ever gave leeway to make mistakes. Like, not to make mistakes, like to maybe not do exactly what he wanted to do. Maybe he could go away from the game plan, whereas other players couldn't. Like Jack Grealish, again, superstar. Super player. Like, I hate to admit this, I'm Irish. I hate to admit that Jack Grealish is a super player. Jack Grealish was unbelievable, but Pep Guardiola, because they already had Erling Haaland in the team, who didn't do a lot of dirty work, but was the game match winner, everybody else had to kind of play to his system, because like it didn't really fit. But for me, Caitlin Clark is the match winner. So I think you build a system around Caitlin Clark instead of making Caitlin fit the system. And that's kind of where my gripe with Stephanie White is. It's absolutely nothing to do with Steph White the person. It's nothing to do with Steph White the coach, because I think Steph White, if you talk about coach of the year, not regular season coach of the year, but just what they regular season coach of the year obviously was Natalie Nakase. But coach of the year, as in the entirety of the year, playoffs included, the coach of the year is Stephanie White. What Stephanie White has done is unbelievable. Like, you're going to run with Stephanie White for another year to see if it works. And if it doesn't work, you be proactive and just say, this is not working. Look, let's leave on whatever term suits you the best. You know, and then if I think it's a when, not an if. Like, I think Stephanie White is going to be the transitional coach. I don't think she's the coach that wins the Fever a championship. I think she's the coach before the Fever win a championship. I think she's the coach that makes the Fever competitive. She's the coach that made the Fever legit. I don't think she's going to be the coach that wins the Fever championship. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think anyone should ever question Steph White as a person, because by all accounts, Steph White is an incredible person. This team fucking love her. So anyway, yeah. And that includes Caitlin Clark. So, wait, is she wearing a Caitlin Clark t-shirt? Yeah, she is. She's wearing the Caitlin Clark, Caitlin was here t-shirt. Like, Steph White, no matter what happens, just like, I don't have a bad word to say about Christy Sides. Like, Christy Sides was just out of her depth, as shown by nobody hiring her in the meantime. She was just so out of her depth. But at the end of the day, like, I genuinely don't, I will never have a bad word to say about Steph White, the person. And I do hope it works out. I hope it works out in a year with Steph White and Caitlin Clark. I hope they do work out because, look, it's an ideal thing that Caitlin and her coach work out. But whether it does or not, who knows? Either way, though, Steph White showing again she's a very good person. So anyway, I'll see you guys.